Can you share the brief history behind feed biosecurity, Dr. D?
Yeah, brief is right. I'm going to talk in terms of feed as a vehicle for virus transport and transmission. So obviously there's a lot of history about salmonella in feed, maybe some chemicals and things like that through feed, some poisons. But as far as viruses, it's a very brief history. And it really began when PED came into the United States in 2013. It spread so quickly between farms that a lot of the clinical veterinarians thought, well, maybe it's in the feed, because you really couldn't even drive by a farm that fast and throw it in the window, to spread it at a speed that it was being spread in the field. And so that was an interesting observation. And I remember in January, first week of January 2014, we had some of our filtered farms in Pipestone become infected with PED. And these were filtered, very biosecure farms. They hadn't had PRRS for years. They were bulletproof, as we thought, but yet this new virus that had just come into the United States a few months prior was now running from farm to farm like there was nothing stopping it. And we actually went into the one commonality across those farms were there was a feed outage in a specific bin. And the animals that ate the feed after the bins were refilled were the index cases of PED. They began within a few days after the feed arrived, they began to have issues with vomiting and diarrhea. They were diagnosed PD positive. We went into the inside of those feed bins and scraped the walls and found the virus in that feed material adhered to the walls of the bins. Now, if we went to a bin which was feeding healthy animals, we couldn't find that, even on the same farm, even a few meters away. We had negative bins right next to positive bins, and so that gave us some understanding that maybe feed was a vehicle. We fed that material to some pigs, and they got infected with PED. So we reproduced the disease. We showed for the first time that PED virus could be transmitted through consumption of feed. So that was like the first breakthrough that the industry had access to show that, yeah, maybe there's something to the feed as a risk factor that we'd never considered, the pathogen spread of the viral nature. And we went on beyond that and started looking at, well, maybe certain ingredients support the virus more than others. And we learned, gosh, the soy products, they'll support the virus in a viable state for many months. So there was something about certain products that were much more protective. We created models to simulate the movement of feed ingredients from Beijing to Des Moines, for example, under laboratory conditions. And we showed that certain ingredients would support viruses despite being exposed to conditions such as timetables of transport, environmental conditions of the sea and the land. Certain ingredients really support the virus very well. And it comes back from an observation I made at Randy Spronk's feed mill, Dr. Gordon Spronk's brother, where there was bags of Chinese ingredients on the farm. And we started thinking maybe that's how this virus came into the country. And I think most people would agree that as far as PED goes, that's probably how it got to the United States. We've expanded that, and others have helped. So here I have to recognize Dr. Eric Nelson from South Dakota State University, Dr. Diego Diel, who was at SDSU, now at Cornell, Dr. Megan Niederwerder at Kansas State University. A lot of these scientists have reproduced this work and expanded it across many other viruses, including African swine fever virus that Dr. Niederwerder is currently working on. So it's all of a sudden within the last few years, there's a whole bunch of science on the risk of feed as a way to move viruses, not only from farm to farm, but potentially from country to country. But it all began in January of 2014 when we started climbing around feed bins. So a crazy start, but it's been interesting to see how repeatable it is across so many institutions and laboratories.